Gang, I've been working on a beast of a project for you. This is the first video of a 3-part series. The primary audience for these 3 videos is the professional skier, the professional ski instructor, but any of you who are real techie, working on your skiing, into technique, this video is for you as well. This video are clips from 2 different clinics that Alain Veth, the technical director of the Taos Ski Valley Snowsports School, delivered to the instructor staff. And the topic was very ambitious. Alain chose the commonalities of the basic parallel turn and the high performance turn as it relates to activities of the inside leg, with an emphasis on the control phase of the turn. Does that sound a little bit like a thesis for grad school? Well, it kind of is, which is why I will be making 3 videos out of this series. The basic parallel and rotary for the first video, this one. The second video is going to emphasize the carving. The third video is going to be blending the rotary and the carving into one turn. I'm telling you, you guys, if you can grasp the concepts of these 3 videos, it will take your skiing to a new level. And you guys, did you know that in the USA Today poll, the Taos Ski Valley Snowsports School was voted #1 in the country? How cool is that? And that is in large part to our clinic leader, Alain Veth, the technical director of the Taos Ski Valley Snowsports School. Thank you, Alain, in advance.
Those are the 2 turns then we're going to be working on.
There you go.
One turn is definitely more on the steering, and the other one is a high edge angle. So one is a flat foot, with more rotary. The other one is definitely tip in, finding that side shot, finding the thread and the cycut of the ski, and then resisting against that ski, pushing against that ski from one leg to the other, and being very active with the inside leg. And we're going to go into detail into that. After we do foot to foot, what do we do with that inside leg? Is it just going along, or is that inside leg has a tension? Does that inside leg has a dorsiflexion? Is it active? Is it being retracted? Is being more steered, And so today's topic is like, how can we control the training phase? If we are in a medium basic parallel turn, we're going to have a little bit more steering. What do we do, and what are the mechanics then we do with that inside leg to accommodate that simultaneously, okay? And then carving, what do we do to be able to control that arc while carving? And the pressure obviously is a big one. The angle, the tipping those ski on edge, it's a huge one. And then what does that inside leg do in relation to the outside, And so outside to outside, I don't have any problem, but to mid, and with the peers that I've been working with, the inside leg is a limiting factor of you reaching the potential that you want to have. If you can do what I am asking you to, you're going to look real good. And I think you can be really efficient onto all the other tasks that are recommended, for your level 1, 2, or 3. What I want you to do is to face down the hill. You're going to stay perpendicular of the 4 line. And what I want you to do is to be able to kind of, rotate both feet and, doing it such, okay? Right. Try to have a flat foot right there. You are here. So basically, I want to try to bring my foot, my center of mass over my foot, and then I'm definitely going to have a outward action on my foot to be able to make it turn. The inside foot going to have a shorter path in relation to the outside, okay? And that twist, that torque, it's going all through the core. And because, oh my gosh, what's going on? I'm not connected. Well, be connected, to what your base of support is doing. The boot, the foot is twisting independently of the upper body. It's a low edge of, we are flat on the skis. I want you to feel like the foot is turning, the knee is turning, the femur is turning inside your hip socket. Look, I'm carving there. I'm not carving. Look at the edge angle that I did. That's an arc, okay? I'm not carving. I favor fundamental, the steering, the rotation of the rotary action of my feet. I am here, I'm rotating. It's on a flat earth ski. Very be gentle on the edge angle. I want you to be gentle. That's not gonna happen too often. I have a tension in my core. Doesn't mean, look at my shoulder, they are relaxed. I'm pretty much, right now, I'm literally skiing, okay? And my foot, my ski is gonna be the extension of my foot, okay? Like right now, I hope to demonstrate what I'm demonstrating, standing still onto a moving platform. Either steering or carving, okay? We're gonna be more efficient onto the outside if we take care of the inside. The inside is the limiting factor of what the outside can do, okay? That inside leg, and if I'm active between the big toe to the little toe, the inside leg is gonna follow no matter what. I've got a very smart, a very agile, a very, the intention being very active with the inside part of my body, which the outside part will follow. So we are really connecting, you know, I am connected, I've got integrity within the inside leg, which bring the effectiveness of rotary of the outside leg. Some people have a grip walk, and then the person with the grip walk is like clank, 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 and I say, what's wrong with that person? I don't know, I think I said it like that. He said, what's going on with that person? How come that person is struggling? And people being ski instructor, rotary, action, foot pressure, this and the other, I say, look at the equipment.
That grip walk.
The grip
they
walk,
couldn't do it.
They could not do it as much with as much ease, you know. But then that person with the grip walk had to manage the rotary and the pressure in such a way, then they had to do it, and they did. When we're gonna do a basic parallel turn, what jumped to your mind? Big skill is rotary. The edging, very little. The pressure, very little, you know. And, you know, to me, a basic parallel turn, you know, is not, you know, throwing that rotary on the very top and just wait like a side slip and then do more trail at the bottom. You know, every time there's a timing to it. To me, in the top of the turn, I'm gonna, you know, move forward the way I showed you without the skis. I'm gonna flatten, it's gonna be simultaneous. I'm now rushing the top of the turn. So the rotary for me is to ease both of my tips simultaneously into the first phase of the turn. Basic?
Yep, basic.
And so now that's the beginning of the turn. And how am I going to control that phase? By keep on the whole foot to keep on turning. It's not going to be side slip, wait, and then keep on going. I'm going to try to just keep on twisting, keep on turning. And then, so that's the control phase of the turn. What am I going to see and what's going to come out of that? At the end of the turn, we need to anticipate to the new turn. So there is some type of countering, then you need to anticipate. And to me, it's like, where am I going? Countering is a big word. It's, oh my gosh, counter-rotating. What am I? It's like, allow the feet to turn along that base of that really strong core. You know, it's like, he's gonna turn. You need to be relaxed, tight with the core, but allow your legs to turn, okay? And that control is with more turning and some more, okay? But I don't want you to, you know, finish that turn with that upper body rotation. That will be wrong. So when you start to really complete that turn and you are coming almost through that transition, it's like, where am I going? And you have to project your vision, which is going to be connected to your solar plexus, your sternum. And so the lower body is going to be really strong. It's going to be I want to say almost square, because you keep that power, parallelism, ankle flexion being very similar, and then you just, it's enough. With the speed then we are traveling is like, that to me is like, it's a nice presentation. You don't need to do any more than that. I want to make sure then if we, talk about the belly of the turn, the shaping phase of the turn, I want to make sure then, we bring that steering, and the timing has to be good. It's not a pivot, it's not a quick twist and the side slip behind. We have to have some shape to it. It's not a speed control, it's a turn. We are bouclé, in French, it's called bouclé. It's a turn, there's some shape to it. There is some, it's graceful. It's not a square. There's nothing like a Z type of shape. It's rounded. It's built up. It's thought of, and that result of great execution, the result of good control of that arc, good control of your edging, good control of your pressure. And you just add as much rotary as you want in relation to how much completed phase of turn you want to have. I'm just looking at the ski behaving. What is the ski doing on the snow? We are not relying on the shape of the ski to complete that turn and to shape that turn. We are not. It's a brush turn, okay? So beautiful rounded turn, since it's not a super high level of competency, we are smearing, we are not controlling the turn with edging at all. It's rotary. So, I'm just gonna bring to your attention that as you are turning at one point, the angle is definitely the same, and then it has to be out of the way, and you're gonna feel some resistance against that little toe side. So one thing, okay? I am not gonna be able to teach you anything, if your stance changes. We are all built differently, tall, different segment, femur, tip, hip, we are all built differently. And the way we perceive our stance may be a little different, okay? But what I would like to mention is like when we are turning our feet, is like if we are turning our feet, the inside has to turn, and throughout the whole turn, even when resistance is being built up a little bit on the apex of the turn, I want to make sure that they are both activated. And sometimes in a transition, I say, oh yeah, and then suddenly the skis are matching back too close together, and that at that point, I said, you know what? You are not active. You are not conscious of what the inside part of the body is doing. So at that point, you are limiting your function, your options, the freedom to do what you want, because you are not centered, you are not balanced. I mean, when you start to play with rotaring, edge angle, pressure, short leg, long leg, moving to the inside, all of that, that's, you are coming alive, okay? From that stance, then you are always getting back at the transition. And I mean, that inside foot is so engaged, okay, so engaged. I can start, no matter what I do, it's gonna be my stance, okay? So a little pivot slip, and basically this is a straight line, imaginary straight line, and your feet's gonna turn on that imaginary line. And so if your eyes are moving away from the target that I am, then it becomes a turn. I don't want you to turn. I want you to turn your feet independently of the upper body, to keep that the feet of theirs onto that line. Is not a turn or it's a pivot. We are pivoting. We are finding that center, that balance, throughout the whole skeleton to be able to find the turning spots, over here. And we're gonna do a lot of talking and twisting without moving those feet from that imaginary line. I'm not making a big move. I'm just adjusting. I want that inside foot to be as connected as the outside foot. No matter what we do, I like to think that either steering or carving, it has to be simultaneous. So if it's simultaneous, the inside leg has to be just as active as the outside. But amazingly, that's not exactly what you see at the highest level. It's like on a very basic parallel turn so I see the intention, and sometimes I go, What do you mean? You are going 2 miles an hour and I see like a wobbling, of the inside leg, not connected to the core. There's a lack of, tonicity. It's like you assume that stance, from that stance, we move 4.5 lateral foot to foot, but when we move at a very low level, really slow speed, or it can be a lot of steering, I just want to see activation of the inside foot. It's like, if my feet are going one direction, I like to think my hip or my pelvis is going to be kind of square, with my feet, okay? Because I don't want to see any of that motion. I don't want to twist because that's going to bring weaknesses into my inside leg, okay? So to me, it's like we've got a nice, parallelism, okay, of our legs, lower leg shaft, okay, and and to have a slight anticipation. So if the hip is a little bit more square with our feet, where does it come up, that anticipation? Where does it come from? The control of the tip and the tail, okay, I want you to side slip totally down the forward. The tip and the tail is going to travel nicely together, okay? We release our edges, we are really aware of what our feet are doing, and we just release. And then we back. We release and we back. Look at that. I am just as active with my inside leg as I am with the outside. To be able to control that side slip in a straight line, you have to be aware of what the tail is doing. And so there is micro adjustments of how is the ski behaving on the snow. Now we side slip, but we're going to drop the tip, we're going to go forward, right? Now we are dropping the tail, we're going to go backward, and then forward, and then backward. They are lacking a little bit of activity with, I think, the rotary of the foot.
I agree with you 100%.
So like right now, I'm going to drop the tail. I'm going forward.
Yeah, that's right. Drop the tail, yeah. Drop the tips. Drop the tail. That's nice, Alain.
Based on that control, beautiful control that we have, we're going to start to just rotate our feet, backward, forward, backward, and it's going to become a nice falling move. Am I side slipping?
Yes.
Okay. Did I change my stance?
No.
Then can you please remain on that stance? When you've got that stance, I'm going to be a stickler. You are hanging from the pull-up bar. So you are not touching both ankles, the malleolus, when you're hanging from that pull-up bar. It's here. So right now, if your inside leg is touching as you are side slipping, you are not part of that ski school. You are not skiing modern. To me, modern, or you are not using both edges to its advantages. The freedom is from that stance, you can move 4.5 side to side, up and down. Okay? If you are here and the upper body starts to take over, you are really exposing yourself to trouble. Suddenly, you don't ski with your core, you ski with your hip. That's a big part of your body. Then when that part of your body is going, you are done. During the winter, I want to bring you, all of you, into a double black in Taos. We have so much terrain to be had, then I want to bring you with confidence. I don't want to have to revisit that stance a month from now because you're going to do your homework. Oh my God. Okay. What do you think of that? I mean, I'm turning my feet, right?
Yeah, you are. And that's really, people ought to see that. People ought to be right here with you, seeing how your ski tips seek the fall line. I mean, people, they ought to be right there with you.
I am favoring the tip to go into that right line, that foreline, and all I do is like to be connected enough with my ankle to have my whole skeleton, the whole rest of my body, ankle, knee, hip, to go with it. So I'm not forcing it. I'm embracing that release. I'm embracing that pitch. You know, it's like I'm not defensive. I'm so embracing it.
You know what I see, Alain? I see such efficiency of movement. I see nothing extra.
No.
That's, you know, not needed. Just efficiency. You know, and it takes a lot of mileage to get there. No distractions when I'm watching you. There's no distractions with your arms or legs or
No, I try to have a really, we talked about the core.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's a big part of the, you know, body being engaged when you ski. And I just want to make sure then that core is connected, it's tight but not tense. Yeah. And that allows me, you know, every movement possible. Sometimes what I saw, and that's a stance issue, I saw, you know, like instead of releasing the whole outside foot, you know, people pick it up and they match it. So now we are really disturbing the athletic stance that we are trying to achieve. From here, we move the center of mass to accommodate that balance and the pressure along the length of the ski. But then if we start to pick one ski up, you know, it's kind of warm. In the top of the turn, make sure everything is, you know, your feet is really on the ground, especially at the top of the turn. How much steering, how much angle, how much pressure, and if the center of mass go way too much on the inside, you're gonna get stuck. And you're gonna go, oh my gosh, I missed that turn, let's regroup, to redeem yourself. Okay, we tried to connect in that turn, kind of a similar ankle flexion as well, okay? And it was an excessive flexion, pressure on the outside ski, and then it was so strong to the outside, then inside foot was like, whoop, tip lead. So if they do a 1-2, it's, you know, the outside foot is like so anchored, the center of mass is not moving, they are not balancing top of the turn, they are fighting the top of the turn. How can they enjoy the rest of the turn? It's going to be a Z turn, it's going to be a step. Core contracted, legs, the straighter the leg is, the better. I'm going to really feel the rotary action that I have within one leg. So I'm going to go one side, one side, one side. It's good. The other one, the other. It's good. Then I do one side, the other. Then they all match this way. Contract your core. Your back is against the floor, and just feel the rotation of your legs around the femur, around the hip socket. And that's really, that to me was a eureka moment. And to be symmetry. Right now, I'm skiing. That's my basic part of the turn. Right there, right there, right there. Yeah, one leg at a time, one leg at a time. Do the other leg, okay? And now try to combine both and try to be symmetric. I mean, literally, I'm always projecting. If I do that, I see myself skiing. You know, I know when to release, I know when it's the belly of the turn, and I know when I'm completing. So project within that rotation, on the floor, legs up, you know, turning those feet. There's a timing. If you do it slow enough, you can mimic well the rotation and the radius of that turn, okay? Right now, it's like my legs are in space, okay? And it takes discipline to be able to connect that legs rotation into a space that we are not really familiar with. You know, I even my back doing some stuff up above. I try to be disciplined with the width of my stand. It's so easy, oh yeah, I did it, it's fun, let's do it, good, check, did it.
As they're turning those legs, it's totally independent of that pelvis. I mean, from this positioning right here, that pelvis is not moving, the upper body's not moving.
So you don't have a tip lead, you don't have a, you know, it's like, you are so symmetric into the motion. Is you on your back, lift your leg up, and you try to really rotate that legs under you. I did it. I never done it until 2-3 days ago. When I did it, it's like, oh my gosh, a eureka moment. You say, oh my gosh, I really feel that femur talking against a very tight upper body, not tense, but connected upper body, like core, because the weight of the boot is like a little extra weight going into my hip socket. And he's like, boy, she's so brilliant. We are so lucky to have her.
The Deb bug.
The Deb bug, here we go. Oh, you say, yeah. Yeah.
Somebody said that.
Yeah,
I
the
thought,
Deb.
oh, I think I like that. That's
Yeah.
better than the dead bug.
Yeah, it's the live bug, the Deb bug. Yeah, that's awesome. But that's maybe something then I would like for you to feel. And that ties onto rotation, okay?
That just was the essence of control.
Yeah.
Right, just
Yeah.
full control over your skills, over the rotary, over your turn shape, the speed. Nothing got away from you.
No. And I think the mistake, or maybe that's all they know, is to turn really quickly and deliver the pressure at the bottom of the turn and make a big swoosh, at the bottom of the turn.
Right.
And that to me is not a turn. It's almost like a hockey stop with momentum, which make you, ski, and you think you're competent because you are turning your feet really quickly and you jam on the brake at the bottom of the turn. So what I try to demonstrate is the symmetry on both legs, the edge angle being very symmetric from one side to the other, very active with the inside leg, and I try to find that edge angle as early as I can. It's a high edge angle, but as far as the pressure distribution, it's 50-50, it's soft,
Yeah.
It's like from the top, and the
Yeah.
more I do in the top of the turn,
Yeah.
through the belly of the turn, through the apex like we talked about, the less remaining pressure I will have at the bottom of the turn. How do you deal with that fatigue? Is by, being centered, being balanced, resting skeletically into a really neutral stance, and just, if you are round, if you have shape, and if you conduct that steering very nicely and you go away from your turning point at every bump, you're gonna ski very efficiently. I'm not here to look at perfection. I just want to say, I want to recognize and make them develop that awareness of the feet. Both of them, not just the outside, but to have the inside foot also very active with it. The pivot slip, we did the side slip, and we did the falling lift. So that's 3 hours, but then also we needed to cover the arcing aspect of it in 3 hours. So I needed to kind of separate between the two, and of course, schmear, carve, schmear, and we finished up with that.
Yeah.
I am not inventing the wheel, but I like to, find a few new spokes, okay? Those are all the tools that we have.
That's it.
From dealing with the pressure, dealing with the rotary, dealing with the edge angle, we have everything available to us. And what fun to be able to grab and use to create whatever we want to create to create what we want to create in relation to the environment, the people they are with, and so forth. So to me, those fundamentals can be used at any given time. And that's our freedom. In Taos, we are so talking about the inside, leg activation, and I don't see too many of that issue being addressed. And so when I look at the 5 fundamental, to me, there's 3 that is very obvious, and that's the way I've been kind of brought up to. But when I don't know why there's so many fundamentals based on pressure, and if moving the center of mass over the base of support to regulate the pressure and so forth, that's one thing. The foot to foot is one thing, and the magnitude in another way of dealing with pressure. I agree with all those components, but it's still pressure. And based on that, the magnitude, which is a new word, is not a new concept. I'm from France. I've got that French heritage. I've got that French education. And I'm from Grenoble. So it just happened then Georges Joubert, in 1957, he was a PE teacher. He was also studying biomechanics. He was a thinker, but he was a doer as well. And he was the pioneers onto developing movement analysis, a way of technique, a way of teaching. And I'm sure he had some controversy with the French Association as well. I'm sure he was a black sheep, but he presented teaching in its own way. And so when I'm looking at magnitude, after my boss explained it to me with his own word, it made sense the way he expressed the way of how the magnitude is supposed to be explained. And to me, say, wait a second, if regulating pressure within the leg length, and how we receive the energy from what the ski is giving us, well, to me, it's like, wait a second, that is going to be what has been addressed 60 years ago by a motion of avalement, which is a swallowing of the leg under you, or a reploiement, which is a forceful way of getting your legs under you. So that to me is like, okay, we are talking about that magnitude, which it was really difficult to me to put that words into an action, but when I really understand what it is, I do avalement and reploiement just about every single turn when I am making beautiful, arc turn. So that perception is not new, but what I feel that could be new because it has not been so much presented out there is the inside leg. So based on the common thread, when both skis has to achieve the same thing, the same release, the same edge angle, and when you go slow, the pressure is very much two-footed. Well, if that is a notion of a common thread, the outside leg is doing it, but guess what? Isn't the inside leg doing it as well? So we're going to talk about pressure foot to foot onto the outside, but to accommodate the pressure onto the outside is because the inside of our body is engaged as much as the outside. So the limiting factor of edging will be the inside leg. The limiting factor of steering is like, if I steer the outside more than inside, I'm going to be in a wedge. So we have to have a simultaneous release, a simultaneous guidance, either steering or carving, with the inside leg. So that inside leg is hugely important. The dorsiflexion, the supination, the connected to the anterior tibialis, connected to the hip flexor, connected to a leveling of the pelvic. That should be addressed to me is as important of the other three fundamental. So in modern skiing, to use the skis to the best efficiency, to me, the inside leg, it's a huge fundamental that we teach in Taos Valley that is being well received. And to me, it's like, if you want to unleash your potential, why don't you address a little bit that topic and that issue? Some of the principles, we are not really inventing anything, especially when 60 years ago you had great thinkers, great doers, and it's a continuity, of what has been done in the past. And so to me, it's like, you know what? That was a statement that I did say at the beginning of each of my clinic. I'm not here to invent the wheels or reinvent the wheels, but I certainly would like to add a few more spokes. And that will be something that I want to be true to it.
I think that ought to be a Le Ski Mastery t-shirt, Alain.
Okay.
I think that would be a good one.
Okay.
Adding a few more spokes.
Even though we are skiing, we're still going to have a few more spokes.
Exactly.